Right, welcome guys. This is Breakfast with the Brand, the #1 podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to go from bland to industry leading brand. If you tuned in live, go ahead, put your flames in the chat and let us know where you're listening in from. I want to send a quick shout out to, I see just a little bit of shade in the building. So just a little bit of shade says phenomenal morning to you. I see we have Icy Willie. So Icy rolling from Boston. Tapping in. See Charmaine Q Harrison. Shout out to you. All right, guys. So this morning we have another interesting show for you today. I have with me a special guest. Of course, Shaan might be tuning in. In fact, Shaan, are you in the building?
I absolutely am. I don't know. Can you guys? Okay, here we go. This is the one. Boom. Okay. Yes. Definitely. You know I'm tuned in. We've been locked in every day of the week, guys. Every single day of the week. But yes, I am present because I would not miss this for anything. I wouldn't miss this one for anything because like you guys have seen and like you guys have heard. And first, let me say this, right? Share this out. Become a facilitator. Become a facilitator for the people that follow you. Become a facilitator of value for the people that follow you so that you can be seen as a source of inspiration. And listen, we're going to give you more than inspiration today. We're going to give you more than motivation today. Today, you're going to get the exact thing that you need to take your brand to the next level. The exact thing that you need to take your brand to the next level. And we have a phenomenal expert on it who's going to talk about it. So I'm definitely excited and I wouldn't miss this for anything.
Most definitely, guys. I want to send a quick shout out to Virginie. She says, amazing morning from is that pronounced Mauritius or Mauritius? I'm not sure, to be honest.
Mauritius, I believe. I'm not sure. You're the international expert. I'm not sure.
I know it sounds tropical though. Wherever it is, it sounds like an island. It sounds like some kind of island.
It reads like Mauritius, like delicious. Mauritius. I'm not sure, but listen, guys, we are international, right? We are international, and we're live right now on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and multiple places on LinkedIn as well. So get ready. We about to have some fun.
Yes, sir. So guys, our next guest is no stranger to the podcast, right? So she's been here before, and just like they say in my country, if it's nice, you have to do it twice, right? So our next guest that's coming in is an expert when it comes to the field or the space of luxury events, of luxury brand events. She has, who knows, maybe almost 2 decades, right, of experience when it comes to putting brand events together. She has put together a lot of events for many of the names that you know very, very well, including Mr. Shaan Rais here, the man himself. We wanted to bring her out to discuss the concept, the design, the strategy, the why, right? The why of brand events, and to really help you put together a plan that's going to take your brand all the way to the moon. So without further ado, help me to welcome Mistress Olivia Russell. Put some flames in the chat.
All right.
Good morning.
Olivia, how you doing this morning?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. How are you?
In the morning, phenomenal
Really
morning.
phenomenal.
You know, I hadn't been on one of the calls with you. This is the first time that I had the right, I guess, parameters, right? So I'm always traveling, guys. I'm always on the road, especially on Saturdays. So, I had to make arrangements so that I could actually be here with you, Olivia, and speak to the power of brand events.
I know, I know, I know. What an awesome opportunity this morning. So thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Junior, you've been here, right? So you've seen the entire thing. So from your vantage point, because I want to give the audience the opportunity to see through your lenses. You know what we did during the pandemic. You know what we did during the very beginning. You know what we did in 2020. Shifting from 2020 to 2021, and then specifically 2022, when the world kind of opened back up and we were able to get back on the road and do more events and do more speaking and take the brand on the road. What was the shift? What happened? What was the difference in the results from your vantage point?
That's a great question, Sean. Being in my position, having sort of a bird's eye view of everything, and I'm a very systematic person. So I see things. I see like the matrix with the little green lines. That's the that's the way I see. That's the way I see things. So guys, let me tell you something. In 2020, we were a little bit contained, right? So we were stuck on the Zoom. So we were stuck in screens. So the world had shifted from being outside to being on a screen. That had become the new norm, they call it, right? And what I noticed is that it was sort of like a ceiling. It was a ceiling. So you can grow a phenomenal business, but at some point you have to get out of the screen. You get too big for the screen, and
Hmm.
then it,
There
it,
we
it
go.
becomes a point of similarity as opposed to a point of differentiation. So I'll give you an example. Before 2020, there were not many coaches. 2021, 50% of people on Facebook is a coach. 2022, now it's probably gone up to like 80% of people on Facebook are coaches. Everybody's going live. Everybody has some kind of Zoom call. Everybody has a StreamYard going live every day. You just scroll up on Facebook, you see random live videos. So everybody was becoming more and more of the same. Everybody was becoming more and more of the same. But what I found is that the people that are actually moving, like you'll say, the movers and the shakers, they're coming out of the Zoom and they're getting into rooms.
Yes.
And that's right. So they're coming out of the Zoom, they're getting into rooms. And the fact that you could throw an event, in fact, the only people that could throw events are people that actually have a real fan base or following.
Mm.
It's a difference between a fan and a follower. That's very important. Just because people are following you doesn't mean they like you. Just because people are following you doesn't mean they like you. But if somebody's going to invest time, money, effort to come to see you at an event, it means that they respect you, they love what you're doing, and they want to be in closer proximity. So for us, the shift that happened was the shift from people just knowing about the brand to people becoming more familiar, right? Familiar, right? Family with the brand.
Very good, very good. Guys, it really changed everything. It changed everything. So we were able to go from six figures to seven on the Zoom. But when we got in the room, that's when we started pushing past the seven figure to the multiple seven figure. Just so you're aware. Just I want to keep it transparent with you and help you to understand the power that events will have to drive your business forward. There's so many speakers, and I can remember being, told this myself. There's so many speakers that are talking heads. You can't be a talking head and call yourself a speaker, right? Because anybody with a phone can go live from anywhere, and everybody can get a Zoom account and talk. It's different when you're standing talking. It's different when you got the mic on and you're walking around the room and you're doing what we call shaking hands and kissing babies and actually touching people and allowing people to touch the hem of your garment. It makes it real. It makes it it makes it surreal, as opposed to just being on the screen and calling yourself something that no one can see. So I always tell people, nobody believes what you say. They buy what they see. So you have to show people what it really looks like. And on that note, Olivia, what has been your experience because you've worked with multiple brands. So I know you've worked with people who were encapsulated at the work environment. Let's just say at the work environment, because you work with organizations as well. So organizations working every day, seeing each other and trying to populate and promote and market their brand, as opposed to actually throwing an event and bringing people and having people fly in so they can focus and getting all of their attention centered on you, your core offer, your core experience, and the experience that you provide. What would be the revenue that you think? Just bottom line it, what would be the revenue that you would think or estimate that has been generated from events that you've thrown?
Oh, the revenue?
The money. The companies, for the people that throw the companies. Just talk about the money for a minute. Let's get straight to the point.
Over hundreds of thousands of dollars, just depending on what that organization is looking for. You were mentioning earlier the experience. We're talking about moving out of these squares at this point in time, and then making sure that experience is paired with what the organization. No one wants to sit inside of a conference room anymore and just be confined. So we're making experiences now that allows everyone to feel different, pairing with Porsche experience sometimes, jumping out, tandem skydiving. What does that look like? No one wants to sit inside of an office anymore or sit in a conference room. A lot of the organizations anymore, once they're moving from remote environments. So we're making sure that when we create these conferences going forward, that there's a way to relax and that these experiences are paired with the individuals in the organization.
Very good. Very good. Now, being a purveyor of events and being a CEO and watching this thing take place multiple times in multiple different organizations on multiple different levels, I just want to provide a little bit of clarity before we go to the first break, right?
Okay.
If $100,000 or a couple $100,000 crosses hands during the event, based on the offer presented from stage and based on people flying in and coming in and staying in hotels, if people are spending and people are willingly, they come basically to buy. They come to invest. They're already investing in themselves, which means they're primed. They're primed and they're ready. No one's coming to an event broke at all, guys. So watch this. If hundreds of thousands of dollars are crossing hands at the event based on the offer, the money is not on the front end of an event.
No.
The money is on the back end. So if you see and you witness and you process and you look and you see hundreds of thousands of dollars taking place on the front end, I guarantee you that is tens and hundreds of millions taking place on the back end. Because an event is timeless.
Yes.
An event lasts forever. Once you've done it and you've captured it, remember, if you don't document it, it never happens. So all of the speaking events that you may have done that were not captured, people do not believe what you say. They pay for what they see. So I want you to have clarity. It's hard, but you got to do the work. You call yourself a speaker, but no one's seen you speak. You say, I've spoken here, here, and here, but no one has the footage. You're basically invisible. We want to help you go from invisible to invincible. And for that to happen, you have to be visible. Now, we're going to show you what this looks like. Mr. B, roll a couple of those speaking clips during the breaks so that people can understand what it's like to go from the Zoom to the room. Thank you very much. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaways just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
You absolutely need a personal brand event to build your personal brand, guys. As you see, you need if you're building a personal brand, you need an event to get in the room and put hands on, lay hands. You have to lay hands, and people have to connect the face with the name. They absolutely must connect the face with the name, connect the voice. It's different. People wonder about you all the time if you're inauthentic or not, because just watch TV, guys. Everybody looks perfect. Everybody looks perfect. But when you see them realistically, they look absolutely different. You walk past stars all the time in the airports, and you're like, who is that? Who is that? No, they don't look anything like they did in the movie. Nobody does. So to prove that you're an authentic brand, to prove that you're authentically the person, you must, it's not a question of if or when, it's a must that you go from the Zoom into the room.
Definitely. I certainly agree, Shaan. I certainly agree. Zoom's too easy. Zoom is too easy. Anybody could do it. So,
and you know something else, I'll say this too. I got to say this too. It'll tell you where your brand is. It'll let you know whether you have a business or not, because business is to generate profit. So if you can't bring people, then you're not where you need to be. It's a reality check. Talk about that, Olivia. Talk about the people who thought they had something and booked you and threw an event and realized that they were not as successful as they thought they were, or they were not as ready or as mature as they think they might be. How good of a tester, how good of a beta, how good of a test is an event to see where your merit is and what your magnetic power is in the marketplace?
Well, I'm going to go more with, not magnetic power, but really just pairing it with what message you want your organization to send to your guests, right? So, are you corporate? Are you more relaxed? Is this as you just mentioned, is this a business engagement in which you're closing deals? All of those things can be communicated through the way you create or craft the experience for the guest, And so if you're not aligned with, and if you have not thought through at the end what you want that event to be, that's going to be evident in the planning that you take, or the planning process that you take when you're creating the event. If you start a week before the event and planning it, it's going to show up the day of. It's going to look like you took a week before. If you take 6 months and think through that experience, you're going to see that as well. So I think that's the question that you were asking, Shaan.
It is. It is. What is the timeline for you? What is the optimal timeline from statement to reality? From saying I'm gonna throw an event. What is the optimal timeline for preparation up until the event?
I'm going to align that to money.
Please.
Depends on how deep your pockets are, right? And you know how interested you are in, again, expressing that statement. And I mean, we can always allocate team into making it as amazing as it can be at the last minute. But that means that you want more and more and more staff to work on it to make it amazing, right? Ideally, 6 months, 3 months. But pairing with a seasoned company like myself, you would actually come up with a plan a year in advance that talks through how you would do this for the quarters, right? 4 quarters.
Mhm.
You know, you would plan out your year's activities for your company, and what that looks like. If it's going to be quarterly events, if it would be one annual event, we would talk to that. That's a part of your strategic planning for your organization.
Whew. Okay, so what you're saying is the big phenomenal events that take place that everybody sees, they don't just happen on a whim. They don't just, somebody just doesn't say we're going to do it like this and that's how it shows up.
Oh, we're business people. What's done on a whim?
Very true.
Okay. So what you're saying is that everything that everybody sees that looks so simple, looks like it was so easy, it actually takes time, money, methodology, patience, professionalism, coordination, all of those things.
Yes, and it needs to be paired with your strategic plan for your organization, right?
Wow. So this is a whole nother thing, guys. So watch this. There's the camera side and there's the business side of an event. There's showtime, right? There's showtime. And then there's plan. So you're saying that a year of planning goes on to throw an event that turns out to be phenomenal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or more.
Or more. Or more. So guys, look at this.
Yeah, or more.
Look at the professionalism here. A lot of times people think that they're ready for it. Like, I'm ready for the big stage. Just give me the mic. I'm ready to go. Like, a speaker and a professional speaker. It's two different things. Two different things. An event and a corporate event.
Mhm.
It's two different things. An experience and a phenomenal experience is completely different. When you're trying to think about how you want to position, so we always talk about the BPMs, the branding, the positioning, and the marketing. The branding, the positioning, and the marketing. The branding is the you, who you are, what you do, how you serve, and all of that good stuff, right? And that's only the first part. The second part is the positioning. How do you position that brand? Olivia said a phenomenal word, and that word was alignment. Alignment. How do you align with the drives, the core drivers of human behavior of your ideal client? What's going to make them fly across the country to come see you? If we're doing an event in New York, what's going to bring Cali out? What's going to have people fly for 6 hours? And then marketing. What does the marketing look like? So talk to that for a moment. And I'm going to let you talk to it as well, Junior. Talk to me about the marketing and how important the marketing of an event is.
Yeah, Sean, I'll allow Olivia to go first, and then I'll speak a little to the marketing.
Okay, so there, you just said it, the marketing for it. So if you're deciding to have an event a week before, how can you market this event?
Come on. Come on.
It doesn't happen. Is this going to generate revenue for you? Not if you're marketing 1 week before the event begins. So again, planning events in advance. How do you draw revenue from it? How do you make awareness for your event? All of that goes into the planning process. And if it's not done with professionalism, it's not going to be a professional event.
Wow.
Yeah. Sean, so on that note as well, when we look at marketing, I would say numbers. Numbers matter, right? So how much are you selling the ticket price? What is your offer? So we're talking about branding, right? Well, just like with online marketing, you can acquire clients at a loss. So it means that you could throw an event, and I'm sure Olivia, you can speak to that, right? You can throw an event and you could make a loss on the event if you don't take time to really look at the numbers. Just it's the same, it's no different. It doesn't matter whether you're marketing online or offline. So we see some brands have offers for, let's say you go to an event. I'm not gonna say any names, but let's say you go to an event and while you're on stage, they sell you something else for $20,000, $40,000 or something like that. Well, they have to do that because they have to recover the cost of what it took to actually host the event. So all of these things you have to have in place, guys. So that ties in the branding with the event, with the business. So just because you want to throw an event doesn't mean you should just throw an event, right? At the end of the day, you still have to know, okay, what am I selling? What does it cost me to get somebody in the room? Does it cost me, if it costs you $500 to get somebody in the room, you cannot sell a ticket at 250. You cannot sell a ticket at 250. So you have to know those sort of metrics, like what is it costing me to get somebody in the room? What kind of profit margin am I looking for? You know, the numbers that nobody really cares about, Sean. So I would say marketing is everything because it makes no sense to do an event if you're doing it at a loss. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Junior, I'm gonna go a little deeper because sometimes when we're talking about this event, the venue, the space, right, is at a cost to even host it. You know, if you're gonna, what are you gonna feed your guests? That's at a cost as well. So all of those things have to be calculated into your total because again, you're talking about throwing an event at a loss. Those things need to be factored into your price as well. And if that's not thought of at the front end, again, you're going into the negative even more.
So let me let me help everybody out, right? From the mastermind perspective, as a CEO in professional services,
Mhm.
your event expense is an investment.
Yes.
Your expense on the event is an investment. And you can go into the red on the event as long as you come out in the green on the back end. Now, this is the thing. You have to have the money to withstand it. Because if you don't have the money to withstand it, it'll break your business and pour all of the people out. Real simple. It'll break your business in half and pour all of the people out. Right? So this is the thing you have to do. You have to understand, okay, then this is strategy. This is where chess comes in. And I can remember being taught chess and thinking that you had to be one move or two moves ahead. And my father showing me that you had to be 5 to 7 steps ahead to really compete in the game of chess. You can't be one step ahead. If you're one step ahead, that's like being no steps ahead. So you got to play the long game as opposed to the short game. That's why when I talk to people about strategy, I'm always talking about your 10-year vision, your 20-year vision. What does your exit plan look like? So for your business, you got to think about the 3 years after. 3 years after, are you still making money from it? Are you rolling over? Are you doubling up? Are you doing this concurrently? Are you doing this in succession so that it becomes a tidal wave or an avalanche of value that you're pouring on people consistently in order to continue to monetize over and over again? And then on the back end, do you have an ascension model?
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Because if you lose a couple $100,000 moving into the event, but on the back end of the event, you clear a couple $1 million, that's good money.
Right.
That's phenomenal money. But the two things really factor here. Do you have an ascension model that's going to get you the couple of $1 million? And then on the front end, are you able to do the work to be able to make the investment and not go broke or belly up while you're doing it? That's a huge factor here. And I've got something when we come back from this next break. that's going to set everybody free and light everybody on fire at the same time. All right. I guarantee it. While you guys were talking, I was writing it down. Be a student of your craft, guys. Listen to what we're about to say, what we've said so far, and what we're about to say, because if you do events the wrong way, they will not be successful. But if you do them the right way, they will light your life on fire. Let's grow.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with the personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Shaan's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Shaan is the bomb.
All right. A couple technical glitches on the back end, guys. Don't even worry about that. Listen, what I want to share with you this moment is how to do an event for free. Who'd like to learn that? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat if you'd like to learn how to do an event for free. So, Shaan, somebody asked me, how do you do an event for free? How do you do a multiple six-figure event for free or a multiple five-figure event? How do you throw a $50,000, $75,000 event for free? What does that look like? Anybody?
Somebody says, I would like to learn.
You probably got some people, might be some people on the panel that want to know.
I agree. I'm waiting for the answer, Shaan.
You're waiting for the answer yourself?
Oh,
okay. Yeah. What comes to your mind?
You said this is an in-person event, Shaan?
Yes, sir.
For free. Event. I don't know. I have to pass it to the event expert.
Olivia.
I'm going to say we're going to get our guests to pay for it.
Come on. Here we go.
We're going to monetize this event. We're going to advertise it.
Here we go. Come on now.
We're going to plan in advance. We're going to sell tickets for it. And that's how it's going to be for free.
Exactly. Guys, listen. You're thinking about this the wrong way if you're thinking that you have to have the $100,000, $350,000 budget to make it take place. No, what you want to do is you want to do it a smart way. So marketing is senior to the sale. I always teach this. Marketing is senior to the sale. So market the event. Sell the tickets to the event in advance. And then book the event. Do not. So I tell people this. I've helped people make hundreds of thousands of dollars on books that they haven't written yet. People say, Shaan, should I write the book? It depends. What's the main goal of the book? If the main goal of the book is to draw the money, slow down for a minute. Make sure you've got a viable offer that people want. Well, how do I know? How will I know if they're going to buy it? You're going to know if they buy it when they buy it. You're going to know that it's good when they pay for it. So listen, guys, I'm writing a book on everything you need to know about branding and how to come out of your education, experience, and expertise to get the impact, the income, and the independence that you deserve. Who's interested? $25,000 $25 pre-sale. $25 pre-sale. When the book is released, it'll be $39. When I've got $100, $200, $300, $25 orders, I know that it's a real topic. I know that people want the book. That's when I'm going to write the book. That's coming out to the waiter. That's coming out. That's like the waiter coming out to the table and asking people, what do they want? Instead of just coming out with steak when people want fish, or just coming out with fish when people want steak, or just saying, you know what, Olivia, I know what people are going to buy. I never do that. I always do market research, and my market research looks like sales. That's what my market research looks like. My market research doesn't look like, I wonder if they're going to like this post. My market research looks like, we've got this for sale. How many people want it? And when people buy in advance, I know we've got a real thing. So let me ask you a quick question, Olivia.
All right, I'm ready.
Do you mind where a person gets the money from when they pay you to host an event?
As long as it's legal means, right? No.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So listen, guys, there's so many ways to become successful in business, but the one way that I know that has taken us from crickets to digits in the midst of the pandemic and any situation that you may have in your business, it's events. It's events. It absolutely has to be events. So before, when it first happened and everybody was frozen and hiding under the bed, we threw events online. We threw events online and people went absolutely crave. There was a crave for what we did. There was a crave for coming together. So we did the Leadership Live Deep Dive at 5 every Saturday at 5 p.m. And the people came out in droves, and we built a phenomenal business. Now that the Zoom is becoming a little bit antiquated, not outdated, but a little bit antiquated, which means it's very saturated. Everybody and their mother's on Zoom doing some kind of call. You can't differentiate with that, which was what Junior was talking about when we opened up. So now the way that you differentiate yourself is you go back into the world. We outside. We outside. And we're not afraid. We're not afraid. We did a phenomenal event in Myrtle Beach last year around September. When I tell you that we shut Myrtle Beach down, we shut Myrtle Beach down, and we put the world on notice at the same time. It's not about the money. It was about the service. Did we break profit? We broke profit before we even threw the event. Before we booked the event, we were profitable. I'm not telling you something that is a hypothesis or an opinion. I'm telling you what has been done over and over again and will continue to be. The only question is, will you be a part of it? Will you be an attendant? Will you be a participant? Or will you be on stage? That's the only question. That's the only question, guys. If you've ever gone to an event, you already know. Will you be a participant? Will you be an attendant? Or will you be the one on stage speaking and closing deals? That's the only question. That's the only question at all. So, Olivia, how can people get in contact with you if they are smart enough to know that they need to throw an event for their brand and their business and they're ready to go?
All right. So it's Exquisite Events Atlanta. I'm going to drop my calendar link for you. My website will be out very soon, and you'll have all the information in just a second.
Very good. Very good. Guys, do not wait. Do not wait. I promise you. Sometimes it's not as expensive or as time consuming as you may think. So book a call and get the parameters. That's the best thing you could do, is find out what you need for this event. how you need to facilitate it. At least you'll know the budget, a realistic budget, because I know sometimes the budgets are all over the place. People are like, I need $100,000. You might not. And people are like, well, I can do it with 10. I would very highly strongly recommend against that thinking because most times it costs more than you think, but not as much as you expect. You see some events and you're like, wow, that's amazing. They must have spent $1 million. Chances are they didn't. And then when you get some money in your hand, you're like, oh, well, I can go do this with $10,000. And chances are you can't. So the best thing for you to do is contact a professional. Contact a professional, and we have one on the call with us. So do get in contact. Do make sure that you do it as soon as possible so that you can get your mind right and get your money right and get your event right so you can get your brand right. Absolutely imperative. So we're going to put that up right now.
Yeah, Sean, while we do that, Olivia, let's talk about the process. So for the people looking, is it free to book you to speak about this, about sort of the planning process for the event?
So for the brand, I'm doing a promotional consultation, but not free to book me. You know, for the brand, I am doing consultations. So you have the calendar link so that you can get in contact with my team, but no, it's not free.
Very good. Very good. So that's a phenomenal clarification. What's the number on it?
What's the number?
Yeah.
For a consultation?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, $500 typically.
Very good. Very good. So just be aware that if you come through a specific vein, guys, it's not always what you do or what you know, it's who you know. Just want you to just realize that. Same thing with events, same thing with bookings, same thing with sound. Well, let me ask you this. So I know people just don't have the experience, so they don't know. And I had to learn this the hard way. Trust me. Trust me. How many things do you actually have to pay for when doing an event?
Ooh, it just depends what type of event you're talking about. So if we want to do a conference, right, that can be the venue. We're talking about the food and drinks. We can talk about, you know, the cost for speakers, hotel, decorations. It can run the gamut of so many other things, but I mean, those would be the basis.
What about the sound system? Tell me about the sound system.
Sound systems, right? Entertainment, production. You need photographers. The marketing materials cost. You know, if you're going to have takeaways, if you're going to do branded materials when the guests arrive, those type of things. If you're having staff to park vehicles, you know, it just depends on what this venue is and what the event is like. Parking fees. I mean, again, it runs the gamut. Sometimes pens can be something that you need to have, notebooks, notepads, you know, it again, just up and down. And these are all conversations that seasoned professionals would have to have with you because it's a crafted and very, very delicate situation that comes from the beginning of the planning process. Because if you're not experienced in thinking through those, there are small things that can fall through the crack, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Not having a mic, not having audio visual equipment, forgetting to order lunches or those type of things.
That was one of the main things that I learned fast, right? AV. As a speaker, you know, guys, coming from no experience, you're like, I need to get the venue. Once I book the space, I'm good. You might say, well, I want notebooks that have my face on them, my brand on them. So you get those and you say, I'm good. You might say, well, we need a hotel room. We need this many days. We want to have some food. We want to have this. So you book that and you say, I'm good. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. You are not good. And I can remember the first time that I was introduced to the AV system. And I was like, what's that? I was like, what's that? And they said, that's audio visual. And I said, hold on. So you're saying that the mic, I bring my own mic. I got my own, you know, hookup. I'm like, so when I speak, it's not, I can't just plug into a system. They said, yeah, you can plug into a system at this price, or this price. And now it's a situation of what experience do you want your participants, your attendees to have? Do you want to pay this price, this price or that price. And if you want them to have a phenomenal experience with your brand, then it's not a question. You have to pay that price, right? And that price just for the AV can sometimes be 5 figures, multiple 5 figures. So I want you to really, really get your mind right when it comes to how much these things cost. And then how much of a part does marketing and preparation play? Because if you don't do it right, you'll make a clown out of yourself. If you do not do it right and you say, you know what, I'm just going to hustle it. I'm just going to throw something together next month, Junior. We're going to do this, this, and this. And you might have all the good intentions in the world. You can have all the education, all the experience, all the expertise. If you don't do preparation, due diligence, if you don't have the professionals, if you don't hire the professionals at a professional price point, so that it can be taken care of, because that's not a CEO's job. That's a different CEO's job. So me being the CEO of coaching and consulting in the space that I speak in, that's not my thing. I'm going to hand that over to a professional who's a CEO of what they do, so I don't have to worry about it. And I'm going to pay the price, and I'm going to pay a handsome, generous tip, because I don't even want to be bothered. All I want to be asked is red or black. People outside or no? Where do you want the cars parked? Do you want them to be parked over here? Or you understand, like you want it to be super simple. You want somebody to know you too. You want somebody to know you too. So I can remember we did the event in Myrtle Beach, and the menu was presented, phenomenal succulent menu, very delicate, super international. But there was a drink mentioned on the menu. And for most people, that's fine, but it didn't correlate with my brand. You understand? We are a leadership brand. We don't do the alcoholic beverages. So I had to make a clarification and say, oh no, that's not, if people want that, then they'll have to go down the block around the corner and get that on their own, because the Shaan Rais brand cannot provide alcoholic beverages. It doesn't align with the brand. So I want you to think about how important this is. And your morals, your values, and principles, and how your morals, your values, and principles you want. Okay, so let me say this word, and I probably haven't said it yet, but how important is this, Olivia? How important is relationships in the event space?
Oh, very, very, very important. Absolutely important. Because again, I have relationships with different venues, relationship with different restaurants, relationships, so that's very, very important. And then, what you just mentioned, sometimes you have very important clients who are vegan, for instance, or, have drink preferences. And then we get into different cultures that as you're dining, there are certain preferences in the way you dine, or, we need to be respectful of all of these differences in our clients. And so that's very important, those relationships and understanding what that is as business people.
Let me say this as a coach, consultant, speaker, right? As a creator, not as a curator of experiences. You want the experience to be phenomenal. As a coach, as a speaker, you want the people to get a phenomenal experience, but you can't wear all the hats. You got one head, and try to make sure it's not too big. Most people say, I can do this, 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 but that's a lot of hats. So your head got to be real big. I want you to think about this now, about humility and having a big head. If you say, I'm going to do this and do this and do this and do this, how big does your head have to be? So hold all of those hats. It should be an indication as a CEO that you're stepping outside of your sweet spot, and you're not going to be too great at it. You're probably not going to be operating at your gift level, at your blessed gift level, when you're trying to do something that is outside of your wheel, outside of your experience set, and outside of your education. You could be a phenomenal speaker, terrible event organizer.
Absolutely.
Awful. Okay, so let me say it to you this way. I think I speak pretty well, right? I think I was designed to speak, to orate, to motivate, to bring people together, to galvanize action, to help people to execute. I think I'm pretty good at that. That's a vision space, a visionary space. You can see the future when I say it, and you can see it, and you can feel it, and you can almost reach out and touch it enough so that you start moving towards it. That's the gift of a visionary, to help you to see it. That's not the gift of an event organizer. It's a little bit different. The organizer has to be detail oriented. They have to know numbers and dotted lines and make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Honestly, that's not my skill set. That's not what I'm phenomenal at. I'm phenomenal at welcoming people when they come in and crushing it on stage and helping them get results. That's my sweet spot. My sweet spot is not making sure that every chair has a cover, or every seat has, or the AV is on, or people are getting what temperature is the water? Is there bottled water, and what bottle is it? That's just not my sweet spot. So I want you guys to think, those of you who are thinking about building a real brand and building a phenomenal brand through the leverage of events, do not try to go it alone. You will harm yourself. You will harm yourself. And when you make, and this is the thing about events, right? This is the thing about being live, Junior. This is the thing about being live. When you make a mistake, you can't rewind the tape. You got one time to get it right. When it's live, it's live. Talk to me about that, Olivia. What does the preparation piece look like?
Preparation goes sometimes 2 or 3 days before an event begins. And you just mentioned some of those details, and let's not minimize them, right? Not that you were, but we're talking about this vision, right? And bringing that vision to life. A lot of people say what it looks like. Let's be tactical. What does it actually look like? Because as those guests arrive, you want them to have all of these things. We're crafting that experience. So you need, one, the vision. The second part is actually making it happen. So executing that vision. And so that takes a lot to do sometimes. The Exquisite team sometimes is 3 days in advance of an event, packing boxes, crafting them, tying bows so that we can hand deliver to the guest, a package that has been thought of for 6 months, that has all of these details that tell your guest that you were thought of last year, which means something to those individuals, especially when it's representing your brand. The preparation is detailed as you want it to be, to the, very, very calculated in order to express whatever your company's brand is. So it's a lot of thought that goes behind it, and it is actually a passion of the Exquisite team.
Come on. That's what I'm talking about. I love people that are passionate about what they're passionate about, because I'm passionate about what I'm passionate about. Now I want to have 5 passions. I want to stay passionate in my space. I don't want to be passionate everywhere around. I don't know. It's a phenomenal experience for me as a professional to know that I have another professional on the other end. And I don't have to be everywhere and do everything myself, because you can only operate at 100%. And if you're on the stage, but you're also wondering about what's going on in the back of the room, then your attention is splintered. Your focus is splintered. It's hard to perform in that space. So Olivia just said that you may actually orchestrate the event and go through the entire event a couple of different times, up to 3 days leading to the event, correct? So Olivia might be.
Yeah, we might have lost her.
We might have lost her. That's okay. No problem at all. Listen,
yeah, Sean, just to speak to what you were talking to, and sort of what Olivia mentioned, and from what I know about Exquisite events, is the attention to detail. So you spoke about making sure that each seat has a cover. I can remember Olivia telling me once that you want to create an atmosphere that is so detail oriented and so perfect that when guests walk into the room, they shouldn't see things like people laying out tablecloth and people still getting ready like that. So even down to that little bit of detail, because that little bit of detail, it's almost like pouring a little bit of poison into a glass of water. You know, as small as it is, it could change the experience for many people. And I think we do have her back. Let's see. Is she back?
I'm back.
Okay,
I'm
there
back.
you go.
Okay. Like I said, guys, I just said the importance of doing something live. You can't rewind the tape. That's an example. That's an example. So I want you to think. You got people. You done spent all the time on the branding. You done spent all the time on the positioning. You done spent all the time on the marketing, and you got the people in the room, and then poof, somebody forgot to pay the light bill. Somebody forgot to hook the mic up. Talk about it. Talk about it for a moment, Olivia. What does it look like? Because you've been at events. I know you've attended events that you did not orchestrate.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
talk about the difference, or talk about the caretaking and the precision needed when orchestrating a phenomenal event. How do you take care of people? Let's talk about that.
Okay, taking care of people. So starting off with just really having a conversation with the leader, the visionary, right? There is a list, a checklist of items that we talk through with the person. For example, as a speaker, perhaps you like essential water, I don't know, or you need hot tea to keep your voice warm, or um, green M&Ms. I don't know, whatever that thing is that makes you feel comfortable to conduct your event. We go through that list. And I know that sounds really silly, but whatever your thing is to help you facilitate, speak, command the audience, or whatever it is, the team will, one person perhaps, be dedicated to you to make sure that you get through facilitating for your audience. In addition to that, again, talking through what does it look like for your audience? What is this that you want the experience to be for the audience? Is this a experience that you want the audience to learn in? Because then there are certain things that we would do to make sure we're facilitating an environment for learning, right? Is this an environment that you want your guests to relax in? Because then make sure that we're making a relaxing environment. Is this something that we want to motivate and invigorate people? Then we'll craft an experience that's that way. So, just talking through what is it that we're expecting at the end, and then building and crafting that experience to match with the outcome is the care that's taken in each exquisite event.
You said something that just kind of, like, I don't know if you guys felt that cold, wet slap across your face, but I did, right? Did you say green M&Ms?
Green M&Ms.
That's pretty detail oriented, guys. She said green M&Ms, so down to the green M&Ms. If you only want green M&Ms served, like, let's talk about the education piece, because I know you have a background in project management.
Absolutely. Uh-huh.
You have a background in project management, and an event is a major project and a major undertaking. And like I said, guys, hustle and hope is not a strategy. You need a professional to do these things the right way, so you can be comfortable and rely that what is said or what is expected is actually going to get done. So give us a little bit about that. What does that background in the educational space look like?
Well, so my undergraduate degree is in physics, and then I have a master's in secondary math education. I transitioned from there into program management. So run the gamut for the last 14 years. I've been a certified project manager. I've been a director of programs, a vice president of programs, and I've carried over from my executive experience tenets of project management. So each of our experiences in Exquis are run as a project. And, software is, I use software to set up the beginning from the consultation to the actual execution of an event. The team uses the software to make sure that the checklists are done on our end, purchases are done, the crafting of the budget, the way that we meet with clients, the way that we execute the event. All of that is done as if it's a project.
So it's a system.
It is a system.
Just to say it lightly.
Yeah.
It's a very sophisticated, detail-oriented system to drive a result.
Absolutely.
And guys, you might be wondering, why do we, consistently bring Olivia out? And it's because we're talking about branding. We're talking about you being successful in your business. We're talking about you going from crickets to digits and going from 0 to 6 and then 6 to 7 figures. And it's hard to do it without events, guys. It's hard to be a major player without events. You might make a little bit of money, but you will be overshadowed by the people who are playing the game at a high level. And I think we're going to show them what it looks like, Olivia.
Okay.
I think it makes sense to show them what it looks like. I think so, right? Because it has to be evidence-based, right? It has to be evidence-based. And I know you guys are probably like, Shaan bringing people out, who does he use? So we're doing an event the beginning of next year. So like she said, a year in advance, the plan from a year in advance. So I want you to follow the framework, follow the pattern. We're going to do a complete, full compendium that we have not done yet. We've done events, but we have not done the level of event that we're about to do the beginning of next year. And the reason we're going to do it the beginning of next year is because, like Olivia just said, optimally, you want to plan for a year in advance. So what I'm going to say is, don't listen to what I say. Watch what you see. Watch what you see and just know that it's already taking place. It's already taking place. The planning is in order. We're having another event. So the Myrtle Beach Mastermind is a real thing, and that will be taking place in the month of May. However, it's a shorter amount of time. So we did the last one in September. So October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. So it's a little bit of a shorter amount of time, but it's still going to be absolutely phenomenal. But wait until you see what we do in the beginning of 2024. We haven't even named it yet, just so that you're aware. Like I'm super transparent. And I hope you follow along and watch the process and the progress. We'll continue to come back and give checks and updates and balances to let you see what's going on when we decide on the actual event, when we decide on the price points, when we decide on all those things. You will be made aware that you know what it takes. I want to help you. One of the things that we strive for at Shaan Rais is giving you more for free than you get for a fee. And Olivia has just given you the mind's eye of a master project manager into exquisite events. Olivia, do you have any last words?
This was an awesome experience. Yeah. So thank you again for having me. And again, let's get these events planned, everyone. Absolutely.
That's right. Junior?
Oh yeah, definitely, Shaan. I just want to say that it's phenomenal to have Olivia as usual. Guys, don't sleep. Shaan, let's put up the Calendly link one more time if you can. Guys, don't wait. If you're serious about taking your brand to the next level, go ahead, schedule the appointment. It's free, right? It's free of charge for people who come from this show. It's free of charge. If you come at any other time, it costs $500. Okay, so guys, take advantage of the opportunity. Book Olivia. She's amazing. She's an amazing person, and start planning your events.
That'll give you an idea. That'll give you an idea of where you want to go. And I guarantee you that she's the person that you want to work with. I don't recommend people that I don't work with. I don't recommend people with low ethics. Everything I do is evidence-based, and the people that I recommend and bring before you are the people that I have had a phenomenal experience with, and I know will provide you a phenomenal experience in the name of the brand. So I can edify, I can from evidence-based and from being at events and speaking at events that she has coordinated and curated. Second to none, absolutely second to none. And that's why she's here and we're glad to have her. Next week, make sure that you tune in, because next week we're going to have another phenomenal guest, guys. The brand is expanding. If you're not expanding your brand, then there's a problem. Also, watch this. You're either growing or you're contracting, one or the other. You're either expanding or you're getting smaller. So something is taking place. If you're not growing, then you might really want to check the pulse of what's taking place, because it's not positive. Next week, we will be talking about brand health. When I say brand health, I mean, we got a surprise for you next week. and it will be as phenomenal as this one was. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I greatly appreciate it, Olivia. Let's go, guys. Get ready for the next week. Get ready for this one. Book your call and book it now. Let's grow.
Thank you.